Hello, I'm Who Are We, and today we're going to explore how object-based attention operates in visual perception, with a focus on how attention is allocated to objects rather than mere spatial locations. We'll examine two key studies, Egly, Driver, and Rafal, 1994, and Moore, Yatis, and Vaughan, 1998. These studies highlight the way attention shifts between objects and how perceptual completion affects attention when objects are occluded or fragmented. Number 1. Object-based attention, Egly, Driver, and Rafal. Let's begin by discussing the foundational study by Egly, Driver, and Rafal, which introduced a paradigm for studying object-based attention and space-based attention in both normal subjects and patients with perceptual lesions. In the study, participants were presented with two rectangles, and their task was to detect a luminance change target at one of the four possible locations, either at the cued location, another location on the same object, or on a different object. The results demonstrated that participants responded more quickly when the target appeared within the same object compared to a different object, even though the spatial distance was identical. In Figure 1, it shows the experimental setup, where the rectangles represent different objects and targets appear either at a cued or uncued location. The critical finding here is at the object-based advantage. Participants had faster reaction times when shifting attention within the same object as compared to shifting between objects. This study provided strong evidence for object-based attention, suggesting that attention spreads more easily within an object than across different objects. Even though attention can be directed to specific spatial locations, space-based attention, the experiment showed that visual processing is more efficient when attention stays within an object as opposed to switching between objects. 2. The next study by Moore, Yatis, and Vaughan extended this idea by exploring how object-based attention operates on occluded objects, those that require perceptual completion. Perceptual completion is a process by which the brain fills in gaps or occlusions, making us perceive objects as whole, even when part of them is hidden. Moore and colleagues asked, can attention operate on objects that are not fully visible, but are instead completed perceptually? They used a similar paradigm by Egly et al., but introduced occluding surfaces that require participants to mentally complete objects behind them, amodal completion. Figure 2 shows examples of the occluded objects used in the study. Rectangles were partially covered by an occluder, requiring participants to complete the hidden parts of the object in their mind. The key finding was that participants were still faster at detecting targets within the same object, even when that object was partially occluded. The study suggests that attention operates on completed object representations. We don't just attend to the parts of objects we can see, but also to the whole object that our brain reconstructs. The results reinforce the idea that perceptual completion occurs early in the visual process, and attention can select these completed objects. Role of perceptual completion and attention. One of the major contributions of these studies is the demonstration that attention can act on perceptually completed objects. This challenges the idea that attention is strictly tied to visible, spatially distant areas, so that the brain seems to use amodal completion to create coherent objects, even when they're fragmented or occluded, and attention spreads across these reconstructed objects as if they were fully visible. In both studies, attention system seems to prioritize objects over locations. The fact that participants responded more quickly to cues within the same object, even when part of that object was hidden, suggests that object-based attention is a fundamental mechanism of how we process the world visually. The findings from Egly, Driver, and Rafal, and Moore, Yatis, and Vaughan provide compelling evidence that visual attention is not only space-based, but also object-based. Attention spreads more efficiently within objects, and this effect persists even when the objects are occluded and need to be perceptually completed. This suggests that object-based attention is a powerful tool that our visual system uses to simplify the complex information in our environment, ensuring that we can attend to whole objects, even when they are only part visible. This concludes our lecture on object-based attention and perceptual completion. I would highly encourage that you review any of the figures and data from these studies to understand the experiment paradigm and results in greater depth. Thank you.